battle reports. Today we have Bolt Action, which should be an interesting one. This is a World War II game that has been sweeping the nation. Everybody's been enjoying it. A little bit larger than Flames of War. So here's the setup for today. It's somewhere in Europe. We're going to have Americans versus Germans. We're starting off with the Americans are putting a sniper inside of a building, and the Germans have a sniper inside of another building. So they're going to be facing off. We got the Americans then setting up on one side of the table. And then we have the Germans. They're putting an HMG with a Pack 40, or Pack 38 or Pack 40. It's an anti-tank gun along with machine gun. Good combination. American infantry is now setting up. And it's the Germans get the first turn. So they're going to set up their HMG in the very middle of the board, right there in the woods, to cover the American entrance down the road. Americans say screw it to the road, and they're going down their right flank. Oh, and they're bringing in their Shermans. They already have their tank. So the Germans counter with their Stug on the opposite side. No, actually, it looks like they're in the center of the board as well. So it's going to be a tank battle right there in the center while the infantry's meeting each other in all the other areas. Oh, it looks like he's really concentrating to make sure it's set up exactly in the right position, so they can't see him. Alright, so here's the setup so far. We've got the Americans over there on the top. They've got the Sherman on their right flank, our left. And the snipers are in these two buildings facing off towards each other, and you got the HMG right there in the center to guard against the Americans coming down the center road. So now, let's see who's going to go first. The Germans again. So he's going to activate the HMG. And he's just keeping them there. So now the Germans go again.
Okay, so we'll do advance here.
He is going to activate his personnel carrier, his armored personnel carrier, put it into the woods there. Get slowly in there. Go all the way to the other side. Get into a protected position. Probably a good idea. Get out of the way also of the anti-tank gun that's coming down there, which he's going to need because here moves the Sherman. It's getting behind the building. Looks like the tanks are basically guarding, keeping themselves guarded from one another, and he's getting himself in position to go after that HMG, which he is firing at. Took a few hits, but has not destroyed the thing yet. He's killed probably one of the crew members there. And now it looks like the Pack 40 or the anti-tank gun is getting set up. Well, at least the truck is going out there. Hey, running out into the middle of the crossroads there. Not a very good move to drive right in front of a Sherman, but I guess he can't back up because he's got his own. Oh, he gets fired on from the rear by that tank and is destroyed. One truck taken out, or was it by? Oh no, it was by that infantry that was back there. Ambushed him right back there. So now the Stug comes moving up. Going in through those woods there. Oh, he might be reconsidering. What's he going to do? Yes, he's going to go ahead and do it. He's putting himself in the woods there. Made a little bit of a turn, so he went a little bit less distance. And he's making sure he can't be seen by that, by the Sherman. The two are not wanting, neither one is wanting to be the first one to go up there and get hit. And here comes some American infantry. It looks like they're going through the same area that their sniper is. There's the same building the sniper is. Okay, now here comes the American infantry. One of the really good things about American infantry is just staying on the move, just continuing to move, and so they're rushing forward. And you got the German sniper now. Oh, the infantry shot one of the guys, but I think there might still be, it might have been just the observer who was killed. Nope, nope, the entire sniper team is dead. The German sniper is gone. That was a lucky strike by the American infantry there.
And while jumping the...
And the rest of the infantry is pushing forward. This is really what the Americans are good at. But he now has an armored carrier coming down the middle of the road. Now that HMG might be trouble for him, but it is an armored vehicle, so he might actually not be in so much trouble. He just won't be able to unload as well as he'd probably like. But that HMG might be able to take it out. Oh, he fires at him, takes out another one of the members. He's really keeping that HMG pinned down, but it is still alive. Now here comes in some more German infantry. And running up to the armored personnel carrier.
There.
And some more behind the woods.
Sure. Pop off.
Oh, here comes that American infantry through the woods. Right up to that HMG. I don't know how good of a move that is. And here's the situation at the end of the turn. You've got the Americans pushing up through the center and on the right flank, and actually, frankly, on the left flank. They've gotten into that building there. You also have the German truck has been sacrificed, running out into the middle there. It's a little bit of points for the Americans, but it looks like over here on the left, the Germans are trying to rush up to retake that building that they lost, that their sniper has lost. And everybody's going to probably meet somewhere on these flanks because that HMG has the center. Although the American player has really been doing a lot of damage on that and may just make it a non-player at this point. And the Americans are pushing up in the center. Wow, they are really gutsy rushing up that HMG. But I think the HMG is kind of pinned down, and so that's why they're feeling like they can do that.
Subs on a 3 point blank to a 2. It's going to a 3 small team to a 4. Subs going to hit you once.
And they fire into it again and pin it down a little bit more, do some more damage to it, but I don't think it's quite taken out yet.
Back to 4 5. Oh, yeah. 2 more hits. So 3 hits total.
And after some more firing, they take out the entire HMG. It is gone. So the Germans lose the control of the center.
3 points.
The next one to go is going to be the Americans. He's really thinking hard about what he's going to do. This is a tough decision for both of them. It's an important make-or-break moment on all fronts here for both sides. Travis is really having to think hard about what he wants his Americans to do. Is he going to go up through the center, the left, the right? He has taken care of that HMG. But it is going to be a difficult decision for him because whichever direction he does go, the Germans might take the initiative on the other side. And he's going to move his tank. He moved the Sherman right up in front of the Stug. He is basically making a charge right up to it.
Brave Sherman.
Good.
And he fires. Takes out some of his own guys, it looks like. No, he fired at the infantry. He's not going after the Stug. He is actually trying to take out the infantry that's over there.
3 kills.
Maybe he's trying to cover that house so he can take it.
No trips. 2 die. 2 die.
Well, whatever his reasons, he did take out some infantry. Now it's going to be a matter of what that Stug does right back to him. The German player now has his turn, and he is going to retaliate. He fires and gets Snake Eyes. Just about anything would have taken out that armored vehicle, but the Snake Eyes kept him from it. And now the Americans on the far right flank are rushing up behind that house. The German player is rushing up with his Panzerfaust, and he's going to go ahead and get a shot off on that flank. Man, he can pretty much just attach that thing to the tailpipe. And that's it for the Sherman. The Sherman is destroyed.
No. Roll is dead. Just burn, baby, burn.
Now here come the Americans running up the hill. Oh, and they fire at the Panzerfaust team and take out one of the guys. The German Stug turns on some of the American infantry. Actually, it's going to go across the road. That really reminds me of a joke. Why'd the Stug cross the road? And I really don't remember what the punchline was. But here come the Americans out of their vehicle, out of the armored vehicle. They're going to go ahead and rush that Stug. Oh, they're going to go ahead and attach their own version of the Panzerfaust up to the Stug tailpipe. It is a point-blank fight here. It's really they're using their bazooka. So here goes the German armored vehicle. It's going to go up through the trees and try to machine gun down some of that infantry. Oh no, they're going to unload their own infantry to go up into the American infantry. I believe it's an SMG, and yes, they have charged it and taken it out. It pays to be the attacker in this game, folks.
Forced to kill both.
But the Americans have their own troops in the building behind them, and they pick off one after the other of all the Germans in the forest there, and they are all gone. Oh, and they must have had an anti-armored vehicle because they take out the armored carrier. And here come the infantry around the flank of the Stug. And they fire and take out the rest of the Panzerfaust team. And you can see the Americans are sneaking up to the edge of that building to come around, and so the Germans are going to go ahead and hide in the woods there. And here comes the German officer. He's pointing out the way to the Americans over there. And they fire and take out one. Alright, well, here's the overall situation. It looks like it is just a massive firefight there in the center. The Germans tried to do a run up through the right and got themselves shot down, and on the left side, the Americans have taken their position inside the building where the Germans well, they haven't gotten into the building yet, but they've gotten to the side of the building over there on the left where the Germans used to have their sniper, and are coming in on that side. So it may be an envelopment with the Americans coming in through the sides while the Germans struggle to take the center. And the German turn comes up first. He chooses the Stug, and it blasts away the bazooka in the front. They are toast. No tailpipe shooting for them. And the Germans go again, and they put their flamethrower up and fire. Literally fire. It's flames. With the flaming pink dye. That's rather appropriate.
Oh, really?
And the flames go out there to burn some of the trees and burn all of the Americans. They are all gone. Hasn't done anything yet, but the Americans on the left flank come rushing up. And they fire at the German infantry that's behind there. They don't have any tree cover. And they take out a couple of them. Now the Americans are coming running around the house. They're coming out of their cover, and they're going to go ahead and assault those Germans on their right flank. And they fire, and looks like one casualty. And more Americans over there on the left flank are rushing forward. The Germans on their own right flank, which is that American left flank that just moved, they are pushing forward through those trees. Oh, they're getting right into the American faces. And they take out a couple of them. And the German anti-tank gun is firing at the infantry. It's supposed to be anti-tank, but they're going to go ahead and be anti-personnel for now. 1, 2... 2 Americans down. Bring in the count. And the Americans come forward with their own flamethrower, so it is flamer on flamer. It is a flaming center. And I'm not talking about the Rainbow Club. Oh, 3 hits? Or is that 4? And the flamethrower is gone. And here it is at the end of the turn. The Americans are pretty much winning on all fronts. On the left side, they're rushing around the side there. On the right side, it's turning into, well, it's basically the two sides are smashing into one another. It looks pretty evenly matched, but the Americans have gone much further. In the center, yes, you do have the German Stug there, but you've got some Americans that can possibly do some damage to it. And so the center is really the German only hope at this particular point. And speaking of which, the Americans are no longer going to make it their better point, because they're going to bring their flamer up from behind, stick it up in their tailpipe, and that's a flaming tank. The Stug is done, so you no longer have armor as a... Wow, that is a big flame, but then again, it did come from the flamethrower. And the Americans are going to come running around that house, go after the officer there, and they are rushing forward. The defensive fire is a snake eyes, and so it goes into the assault. It is hand-to-hand. They are hitting each other with the butts of their guns. And the Germans are holding off 2 of the Americans, and so 3 of them. So now it's an even fight. 2 Americans versus 2 Germans. The Americans take out 1 German. He fights back. Looks like the officer is going to be... Oh, the officer is the Ubermensch. He takes out the 1. Now it's down to 1 American versus 1 German. And it is the German officer. And he takes out he slaps him across the face and takes out the American soldier. And so Super Officer is still alive, and he goes strolling into those trees. He is striding. Oh, and on the other side, we have the evenly matched assault going on here, hand to hand. And the Americans lose one. They come back at them, though. Oh, no, that's going to have to come during their turn, I suppose. So you've got the armored car vehicle in the center there. They fire at the officer. Well, no, at the guy who's near the officer. Looks like they took one German out, but you still have the officer there. He took out one of the guys there. And the German officer comes out, and to prove his manlyhood once again, he slaps another American across the face and takes him out. That's the last of the American Flamethrower. Then he jumps back into the woods. But now the Germans come back on the melee on the right side. And they take them out. That's the last of the Americans on the right side. So the envelopment isn't going to quite do it right now, but the Americans are coming in with more troops near the center. And here comes the American armored vehicle, being fearless, going right in front of that anti-tank gun, firing at it, and taking it out. That was some fearless moves there. So the Germans retaliate by rushing out of the woods and charging after the armored personnel carrier, and they are gunned down one after another. That's it for them. That's the game. And so it winds up with the Germans have 7 points and the Americans have 11. It is an American victory. Congratulations to our players. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Watch us on CommandCombatReports.com and watch us on Facebook and Twitter and all that. Happy gaming, everybody.